I want to make a video today continuing the conversation I started yesterday in a video about banning lead ammo. We're not actually banning it, just about moving away from it as far as ammunition is concerned. Now, I want to start this video by doing something I didn't think I would ever have to do, and that is compliment the people that actually watch my videos. When I made that video, I thought this is going to be really divisive. At best, I'm going to get a 50-50 rating as far as thumbs up and thumbs downs. I actually thought it would be at least a 60-40 against my opinion, because the gun community is so ingrained to protect lead ammunition that most of them don't even know why they're doing it, but they'll do it. But I was really surprised to see that only about 30% of the people actually thumb down the video. And you know, people are more likely to thumb something down if they don't like it than they are to thumbs it up if they do like it. So it's a maximum of 30% of the people didn't agree with me. And that's pretty good. So that means only about 30% of the people in the gun community, at least the part of the gun community that watches my videos, only about 30% of them are as dumb as a box of rocks. And that's pretty damn good, actually. That might not sound like a compliment, but when you consider that out of the people I meet in my everyday life, I would say at least 50 to 60% of them are as dumb as a sack of doorknobs. So having 30%, that's pretty good. That means the gun community is pretty much ahead of the curve when it comes to, knuckle dragging mouth breathers. So we're doing pretty good. So like I said, I wanted to continue the conversation about banning lead ammo. And I wanted to point out that there were some people that really got it. There was one person that really got the video. A lot of people caught on that what I was doing was saying if we started doing this ourselves, there'd be no need for a lead ban on ammo. If we actually started saying, lead is actually a problem, we should probably get away from it in most bullets, then there'd be no justification for people saying those awful gun owners are using lead ammunition and poisoning the environment, because they'd have to say those gun owners are taking responsibility for lead ammunition and deciding that they want to move away from it in the best way they possibly can. That's not really much of a rallying cry against us. So if we actually started doing it ourselves, we would actually take the air out of their balloon. They wouldn't actually be able to come after us so much. And a lot of people said, I'm just angry and I don't agree with you, blah, blah, blah. Those people are just ingrained to fight. Those people are kind of like the worst example of the way the left likes to portray gun owners as just a bunch of ignorant, angry people who will just defend anything as long as it suits their needs and don't really think of the consequences. Those people I don't really have much time for. I actually get surprised when anyone can get so upset about something I say. Like when I was calling people stupid a minute ago. You got to remember, that's coming from a guy that tried to knock his own jaw off with a tire iron the other day. So I can't exactly claim to be the brightest guy in the world. So when these people get so upset about something I say, it kind of surprises me, because I'm surprised at how much credibility they give me. When they get so angry that I disagree with them, that means they're giving me a lot of credibility. I mean, some of these guys get really angry. It's like they were masturbating and Jesus walked in on them and told them, you got a tiny dick. They get so mad as if some sort of authority just told them something that they don't like. So I've never understood that. But like I say, those people I don't got any time with. The people that I said, well, make an argument for lead and then couldn't, just called names, those people I got no time for. But I do want to address some people that actually tried to make an argument for lead. Now, some people would say, well, it's cost. The cost is the big reason why we can't go away from lead. Ammunition would become so expensive we couldn't afford it. Well, that's actually silly. That doesn't make a lot of sense. When you think about the cost of a bullet, let's say 20 cents is the average cost of a round. If that round is 20 cents, only about 2 to 3 cents of it is actually materials. And as far as the lead, there's about a penny worth of lead in there. Now, to replace that lead with even copper at today's prices, and I'm talking copper would be the most expensive alternative to replace it with. At today's prices, you would raise the round of a bullet, or a round actually, the cost of a round, to 21 cents from 20 cents. Because you'd raise the material cost from about 3 cents to about 3.5 to 4 cents. So you really wouldn't be increasing much as far as material costs concerned. And if they started getting away from using lead, the money that they would save in the precautions they have to take now in proper disposal of lead, proper handling of lead, proper casting of lead, proper safety precautions they have to take for their employees, etc. If you took those costs away, the bullets would be about the same amount to produce. When you're paying for a round, you're not paying for the materials in it, you're paying for the technology that is used to make it. That's why a self-defense round that doesn't use any more material, often uses less material, costs way more because it's a more expensive process to make it. So cost is not a reason to stay with lead. That's just kind of a ridiculous idea. Now, another thing that people came up with is, well, what about the density of lead? The density of lead is so great that it's so good for these things and blah, 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 and nothing else can match it. Well, that's not even close to true. As far as performance goes, some of the top performing ammos in the market today are all copper rounds. So that goes to show you in real world terms right there that lead isn't necessarily the best. Design, other factors like ballistics, etc., such as velocity and bullet movement, etc., those things contribute to effectiveness of a round far more than the density of the material, as long as the material meets a minimum density. And let's face it, on the scale of 0 to 11, which lead is like 11, iron's like a 7.5, copper is a 9, so it's pretty close to lead anyway. So it's not exactly a light material. It's not actually a soft material. So it actually does very well in ammunition. And like I said, some of the best ammunitions on the market today are solid copper, like the Corbon DPXs. So the whole idea that copper can't perform as well as lead, that's ridiculous. And the notion that we can't make bullets with the same density for like hunting rounds, etc., that kind of need lead bullets or something that dense, that's silly too. Look up things like EcoMass. We can actually make polymer metal compounds that are just as cheap to make as recycled lead. And all lead nowadays has to be recycled or imported because we don't really refine lead in this country anymore. Lead is slowly becoming a totally illegal product. Even the automotive industry has said we're not going to use lead anymore in tire weights, etc. In some countries it's banned. In some states you can't use lead ammunition already for hunting. So, it's already becoming to where we can't use lead ammunition. So we got to get on the train. But now I kind of lost track of what I was saying. But like I was saying, density-wise, in some hunting ammunitions you could use these polymer resin compounds or these polymer metal compounds that would be just as good as lead and just as cheap to make. So that's not an excuse to keep lead either. We can make a compound that's just as good as lead but not toxic and costs about the same to make. Like I said, because all lead now is going up in price because it all has to be imported or recycled. If you look at the graphs for lead and copper over the last 10 years, lead is inching up, copper has pretty much cut in half because it's not being used as a conductor as much anymore, so it's not as valuable a material now. So cost-wise, that's not a real issue, period. Density is not really an issue, like I said, because we can equal the density with other rounds. Now, another thing like people used to say, another argument they said, and we'll have to ask people to excuse my rambling here. I'm in a real hurry today. I got no script for this. I'm trying to do this in one take, so there's not going to be any editing because I don't have time to edit today, so bear with me. Probably should have said that at the beginning of the video. But like I was saying, some people were saying, well, we can't get rid of lead ammo because cowboy action shooting and SAS, they all require lead ammo because they won't let you use full metal jackets because they ricochet too bad. Well, for one, I like the whole notion that we should base what we do in our lives on the rules of some sport where, elderly men dress as geriatric howdy-doodies and their wives dress up as 78-year-old prostitutes. And then they go out and shoot while they're doing it. I've never understood how that would be a big enough basis to decide anything on. But even if you were saying, well, we got to do something for those people, well, the polymer bullets, like the ARX bullets I showed you from Ruger, would be perfect for that. They wouldn't ricochet. You could make those to where they powdered practically when they hit the target. So you could just replace the lead bullets in that industry with the solid polymer bullets like the ARX bullets. Well, they're not solid, they're a compound resin. But, that would be perfect for the lead. And people were saying, well, what if ranges that, don't let steel ammo and blah, 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 they only allow lead ammo, they'll go out of business. Well, no, they won't, because then you could start using the polymer ammos, the softer compounds, etc. there. Not every round has to be a solid copper round there, because not every round has to be a self-defense round. We can make practice rounds that, like I said, practically disintegrate when they hit a solid target. So that's not an argument for keeping it either. So I want to congratulate people that really got the point yesterday that we need to start moving away on our own. Because if we start moving away on our own, we're not only getting rid of a toxic substance, and let's face it, lead is toxic. I actually got emails from 3 different doctors that are subscribed to my channel who were like, thank goodness that someone is saying this. Lead is horrible. If you look at lead laws are pushing lead out of the picture. But, we have to accept some levels of lead because of all the lead pipes in this country. But even that is such a tiny amount that they allow nowadays that most pipes are having to be replaced. But when you look at the rulings of the American Medical Association and the CDC on lead, it's one of the few substances where they say there is a 0 level of acceptable exposure. There is no safe level of exposure to lead, period. So a couple of, like I say, a few of the doctors that that are subscribed to my channel sent an email saying, thank goodness someone is saying this. Lead is horrible. We do need to get away from it, even if there wasn't political pressure or environmental pressure to get away from it. So we need to start doing this, because if we don't start doing this, we are going to see things go out of business. Because if manufacturers fight to the bitter end to keep lead, if we as gun owners fight to the bitter end to keep lead and give the other side ammunition to use against us to outlaw lead, well then gun manufacturers are going to suffer, because, ammo is not going to be available for their products anymore. So they're going to lose sales, because the ammo companies are going to be caught flat-footed and go out of business when they're told you can't make lead ammo anymore, if it comes to that point. And, and if they go out of business, well, there's going to be distributors and retailers that are going to go out of business because there's no ammo to ship, because no one's making the ammo. Eventually, other ammo makers would fill the void, but we're going to have a big period of a slump there, a big depression, that maybe a lot of gun manufacturers, a lot of ranges, etc., wouldn't be able to survive, because if people can't get ammo, they're not going to go shooting. They can't get ammo for a gun, they're not going to buy that gun. There's lots of reasons why that would cause a big slump, a slump that we might not be able to survive. A lot of the industry would not make it through. So all we're doing by being obstinate and ignorant is hurting ourselves. If we just accept the fact that we do need to make some changes, we need to get away from this toxic substance of lead, but we need to do it on our own terms. And if we start setting our own terms for doing it, that would give the other side less power to do it to us in a way we don't want it done.